Hello, my name is Sensei Alex Kakuyo, and I'm a teacher in the Bright Dawn Center of Oneness Buddhism. I'm also the author of the Buddhist blog, The Same Old Zen. Today, I will be discussing how we can eliminate all suffering from our lives. Now, as you guys who've been watching the videos for a while are probably aware, I enjoy referring back to the First Noble Truth, which states life is suffering. And I like to refer back to it because I think it's very incumbent that we understand and learn to embody this truth. And to explain that, I'd like to tell you about a discussion I had with a student earlier this week. And we were talking about Buddhism, the precepts, the Four Noble Truths, and he stated, I can accept that desire is suffering, but to say that life is suffering just sounds wrong. Nihilistic. I just can't get with that. And I listened respectfully, and then I explained why the First Noble Truth is what it is. And now I'll do that for you guys here today. And I'll start by explaining that when we say life is suffering in Buddhism, we don't mean that life is bad, or that we'll never be happy, or that it's a torture fest from the moment we wake up to the moment we go to sleep. In fact, maybe a better way to put it would be things go wrong. That's what we mean when we say life is suffering. We mean things go wrong. The barista screws up our order, the car doesn't start when we want it to, our spouse forgets our birthday, our friend doesn't pay back the money he owes us. These things are a natural part of life. And yes, they are forms of suffering. And no, we don't enjoy them, but if we accept that they're a natural part of life, we'll suffer a lot less. If we can accept them completely, we won't suffer at all. Case in point, if you look at the room divider behind me, you'll notice that there's a lot of holes in the right side that weren't there previously. And the way they got there is because I have a cat named Enzo who likes to get into things, and while I was away, he got into the closet and he decided he wanted to use this room divider to get up onto a high shelf. And I don't know how many times he climbed up there, but it must have been a lot because there's a lot of holes in this divider right now. And, this could potentially be a source of suffering. I paid good money for this thing. I wanted it to last a long time. It obviously didn't. If I decide to replace it, it's going to cost money. If I don't, I'll have these holes that people will look at while I'm giving my talks. So I don't know how I'm going to solve that problem. We'll see what happens. But the point is, when I saw this, while I was mildly annoyed with myself for not closing the closet door, I wasn't angry at Enzo. I really honestly wasn't even that upset. I laughed when I saw it because I understand the First Noble Truth. I understand life is suffering. Cats scratch things, they destroy things. If this hadn't happened, something else would have happened. That's just how life goes. And the suffering doesn't come from what happens to us, rather, it comes from how we respond to it. That's why the Yogacara school of Buddhism states that all suffering comes from the mind. Because suffering comes not from what happens to us, but how we respond. So when we say life is suffering, when we say things go wrong, the next step is our suffering comes or doesn't come based on how we react. And the more we can accept that suffering is a natural part of life, the less suffering we'll have. Which sounds a little convoluted, but it's just a fancy way of saying that if we accept that bad things happen to us, they won't bother us nearly as much. We won't get upset when the cat destroys the room divider that we haven't even had that long. We won't get upset when the boss doesn't give us the promotion we deserve. Not to say we don't deserve the promotion or we don't want the cat to stop destroying things, but again, we accept that it's part of life. The Japanese have a really great saying for this. They say, shigata nigae, which roughly translates to, what can you do? So, if you want to eliminate suffering from life, just ask yourself that question. What can you do? And then from there, figure out a good, healthy response that's both life affirming and solves the problem, and then go on with your life. And if you do that, all of your suffering will disappear. So that's the talk for today. Hopefully it was helpful. If you'd like to read other articles that I've written on Buddhism, you can do that by visiting my blog, The Same Old Zen. And that's located at sameoldzen.blogspot.com. I'll put the link in the description below. Also, you can email me at sameoldzen@gmail.com if you'd like to discuss further. If you're watching on YouTube, please don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified when I post talks in the future. And if you're watching on Facebook or Twitter, don't forget to retweet or share. That way, we can all continue learning together. So, I hope this was helpful. Amitabha. Until next time.